Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies as we continue with part 23, lesson 22 of the Illuminated Faith, mystical interpretation of the Gospel of St. John by R. Swinburne Clymer. Lesson 22. That which comes from heaven, that is, the soul of man, belongs to the Father. St. John, chapter 6, 36 through 50. 36. But I say unto you, that ye also have seen me, and believe not. 37. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. The body of man does not come from the Father because it is of the earth, earthly, but the spirit of man, which is the life, and the divine spark, which is to become the conscious soul, do come from the Father. The Father gives life to the body, and he gives the divine spark to the body in care of the spirit. These belong to man to make use of. It is his privilege to use them as he wishes, if he accepts the gifts he has received, and will work for illumination of soul. Then is he accepted and in no wise cast out. 38. For I come down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me. The divine spark, the soul germ, comes from the Father, from heaven. It is sent by the Father, not to do the will of the flesh or the carnal man, but to do the will of the divine. Man can, however, do as he wishes, for he has free will. If he brings his mind into harmony with the divine principle dwelling in the divine spark, in time, the soul will attain consciousness. Then, man becomes the Christ, the Son of God. 39. And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I should lose nothing, but should rise it up again at the last day. As features of the divine law, Jesus taught that the Father gave our parents the power to create the body which we inhabit, that he gave life to the body so that it might move and think and create and have free will, that he planted within the body the divine spark, that he desires us so to use the mind and the body as to rise up, awaken, and bring to conscious activity the divine spark planted in our natures, so that we may become his sons, the Christ. The last day of the flesh is come when the soul has become truly conscious, when it has become illuminated, for then the soul, instead of the fleshy nature, will hold supremacy over our lives. This is the resurrection, the dead come to life. 40. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will rise him up at the last day. All men have equal privileges to become the sons of God. In all ages, men have been sent to mankind to teach them the divine law. These teachers, if they were truly doing the work of the Father, were always such as had found the Christ. They were therefore the sons of God. Those who believed their teachings and lived according to them raised up the divine spark, that which was as dead, because it had no consciousness before, and found everlasting life. 41. The Jews then murmured at him, because he said, I am the bread which come down from heaven. Truly he was the bread, for he was the life. The body lives only at the expense of the Father, for as soon as the Father withdraws the Spirit, which is the life of man, he is dead, and there is no life in him. But if he accepts the teaching of the divine law, he will eat of the bread of life. That is, he will use his mind to awaken to activity the divine spark within himself. And when this has been brought to consciousness, then is he the Son of God and has found eternal life. This bread is therefore come from heaven, for it is come from the Father, and the Father dwells within the temple, and the temple is heaven. 42. And they said, Is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I come down from heaven? The Jews could only see the body. Jesus did not speak of the body, but of the illumined soul within, the divine spark which he had brought to consciousness while under the training of the masters in the East. 43. Jesus therefore answered and said unto them, Murmur not among yourselves. 44. No man can come to me, except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will rise him up at the last day. Jesus did not refer to himself personally, but to the divine spark, or potential divinity, which is within every man. No man can come to the Christ, nor know the Christ, unless he first frees himself from the flesh, and brings forth to conscious individualization the divine being which is sent from the Father. 45. It is written in the prophets, And they shall be all taught of God. Every man therefore hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. No man can teach another further than to give him the law. If man accepts the law and lives according to it, then will the Christ within him awaken, and as it awakens, so will he receive instructions from the voice of the indwelling Christ, and instructions from the Father through the soul. We are not to come to Jesus, the flesh of man, but to him who is the Christ of our own being and who dwells within us, within the temple of the living God. 46. Not that any man hath seen the Father, save he which is of God. He hath seen the Father. Man of flesh can never see the Father, but that part of our own being which comes from God. The soul, when it is awakened, can see the Father, for the soul is born of the light, and the Father dwells in the light, which is the light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. 47. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. 48. I am that bread of life. The Christ is the bread of life. For if man seeks for him and finds him, then does he partake of the bread of life and become immortal. 49. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. The Jews obeyed only physical laws, the laws of generation. They had not found the Christ, nor had they become conscious of him. They were in darkness, and darkness is death. 50. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. Only he shall have immortality, who accepts the teachings of the divine law and lives in harmony with them, and makes deliberate effort to find the Christ, and does find him. Those who do not obey the law and who do not find the Christ shall be dead unto damnation. This is the decree. The divine fiat has been cast, and neither God nor man can change it. All men have equal privileges. All men have the opportunity. If they do not accept it, then, at the transition called death, the spirit returns to him that gave it. The body returns to the earth, and the soul, which has not become individualized, returns to the divine storehouse to be taken up by someone who will bring it to conscious individuality. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.